So we're actually going to start lying down this morning. Have your block available because we'll do some core stuff after a general stretch for every part of the body. If you have something you can slide under your head, even for the short amount of time that we're going to be here, it just is that much more enjoyable to be lying down on the floor. If you do have something, then you can close the eyes. Just give yourself a moment to settle in. If you want to take the feet wider than hip width distance and let the knees drop in towards each other. And simply allow the full weight of your body to release downwards into the earth. Allow yourself to feel as heavy as you possibly can. One way to do that is to feel the earth rising up to support the weight of your body. Begin to notice any sounds outside of your space, your practice space, or your home. Maybe sounds outside of the window, cars driving by. And just as we do sort of physically use the body as a conduit to start to access that interior landscape, we can start to draw our sensory awareness inwards also. So you start by noticing sounds outside of your space, then bring it in a little bit closer, sounds inside of your space. Maybe more subtle sounds, the ticking of a clock. And even more subtle yet, notice the temperature in the room, the texture of your yoga mat, the feeling of fabric against your skin. Still more subtle yet, see if you can notice any tingling sensations in the body, typically easier to access those in the fingers and the toes. But then see if you can find that tingling sensation in the knees or the upper thighs. More difficult, the belly. Notice the beating of your heart, the rhythm of your pulse. Notice your breath, that link between inner and outer worlds. As you bring your mind to focus on your breath, you are anchored to the present moment. Breathe in for a count of 4. And exhale for a count of 4. Take your deepest inhale, really filling the lungs to the very brim. And your fullest exhale, empty to completion. When you feel you've expelled all of that oxygen, a little pressed to get a tiny bit more. Then allow the breath to find a more natural rhythm. Walk your feet forward, take an inhale, and reach the arms up overhead for a nice long stretch. Press the feet forward, press the hands back. No concern about alignment here, just kind of feeling good, lengthening things out. Side bend over to the right. With your right hand, tug on the left arm for a bit of a deeper stretch. Also, for a deeper stretch, allow the left rib cage to reach down towards the mat. So feel your back left ribs moving towards the floor. Walk your feet out over to the right. Internally rotate your thighs. Press the mounds of the big toes forward. Squeeze your inner thigh muscles. Squeeze the inner legs towards each other. Come right back through center. Walk the feet to center. Lower your arms down. Bend the knees. Heels come into the hips. Push into your feet. Lift the hips up. And lower back down. So not a long hold, not your deepest bridge pose, just lifting and lowering the pelvis. One more time. Now walk the feet forward. Take another inhale, stretch the arms up, a nice feel good stretch. Point your toes forward. Press the hands back behind you. And hinge over to your left. With your left hand, tug on the right wrist. And you can also deepen the stretch by guiding your right back ribs down towards the earth. And you'll feel that nice stretch right in through the area, space between the lower rib and the right pelvis, right pelvic bone there. Great space there. You can walk your feet out over to the left. Internally rotate your thighs, squeeze the legs in towards each other. Press forward with the mounds of the big toes. And then you can tug on the right arm, soften the back right ribs down. And come back through center. Lower the arms down, walk your heels in towards your hips. Press into the feet again, lift and lower. Just a little bit of bridge action, warming up the spine. Notice if you feel any pain in your lower back, you shouldn't. So if you happen to, don't lift the hips so high. Lift and lower. One more time, lift, stretch your right arm overhead. Draw your left ear towards the mat. Draw the chin away from the left shoulder, so not dropping or digging down towards the shoulder. As you stretch back through the right fingertips, keep guiding your inner knees towards each other and press them forward. Look to the ceiling, lower the arm down, curl down. Press into your feet, lift your hips up. Stretch the left arm up. Bring your right ear to the mat. Chin parallel with the floor, not dipping down towards the shoulder. Look to the ceiling and lower the arm down. Take the right knee into the chest, interlace your hands around the right leg. Walk the left foot forward. So we'll carry the theme of shoulders away from the ears throughout the entire practice. Something you're all familiar with. You can guide the elbows forward the same direction that that right foot is pressing. Guide the elbows forward. Feel that draw the shoulders away from the ears. Internally rotate your left thigh. Press forward with the mound of the big toe. Although the left leg is straight, you're not locking the knee. Interlace your hands behind the leg, sole of the foot to the sky. point your toes, press through the heel, rotate the ankle in both directions. Rebend your right knee, take a spinal twist over to the left. Right arm reaches out. Use the left hand to guide your knee to the left. And either look up at the ceiling or you could take the gaze along the right arm. Return to center. Interlace the hands around the knee again. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, do a little crunch. Forehead to the knee, knee to the forehead, and hover your left heel above the mat. Press your left foot forward. Heel comes to the floor, right foot to the floor. Take the left knee into the chest and extend the right leg out. Tuck the elbows in and send them forward. Sides of the neck soft and long. Interlace your hands behind the leg. Take the sole of the foot to the sky. You want to feel stretch hamstring muscles, calf muscles, and a little motion through the ankle joint. You can point the toes, press through the heel, and rotate the ankle in both directions. Rebend your knees, stretch the left arm out, use your right hand, guide the knee over to the right. And either look up at the ceiling or along the left arm. And come back to center. Hands interlace around the knee. Take a breath in as you exhale. Crunch, knee to the nose, nose to the knee. Look at your right foot, hover it above the mat. Press the heel forward. And release. Walk the left foot forward. Interlace palms of the hands to the sky. Stretch the arms up overhead. Breathe your back ribs into the mat. Then lower the arms down. Walk your feet in, cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Pick your left foot up. Interlace in behind the left leg. This isn't quite as slow of a flow maybe as you're used to on Mondays. It's a little bit quicker, but the stretches are easier. We're on the mat. We're just going to change up the pace a little bit this morning. So squeeze your right knee forward if you want to shift a little with the hips and seek out those pockets of tension. So your body typically wants to avoid them, understandably. But through the practice, we're looking for those areas so that we can send some oxygen, circulation, life force energy, and thereby increase and maintain range of motion and mobility. Couple more breaths. Lower your left foot down, uncross your right leg, plant the right foot, and just change sides. The left ankle crosses over your right thigh. The right foot up. The left knee is pressing forward towards alignment with the left ankle. It may or may not ever get there. It really doesn't matter either way, but that's the direction that it's moving. And you can give a little rock from side to side. but slowly. So it's not just kind of a mindless rocking and thinking about what you're going to have for lunch. It's being really interested in the language of your body, the places of tightness, the areas that feel open, the practice of mindfulness. And a few more breaths. And return to center. Uncross your left leg, straighten it out. Straighten the right leg out as well. Reach the fingertips towards the sky. Take the awkward interlacing of your hands. Rotate the palms to the ceiling. Stretch the arms up overhead. Inhale your back ribs into the mat. So breathe your back ribs into the floor. Exhale, feel the belly boot moving back towards the spine. And release the arms down. So connecting with our core this morning. Take your yoga block, the long side, vertically up and down from inner thighs to inner knees. Walk the feet in a little bit closer to the hips. Arms come down alongside of the body, at least to start. Pause here and press your low back into the floor. If you don't feel your low back pressing into the mat, then do not go any further in this exercise. It's absolutely key. Low back has to stay grounded. So I worked this out with a student on the weekend, and we came to some delightful realizations in terms of how to really access abdominal muscles in these exercises and not the low back. So you're not looking to maintain a long or flat back here. What you're looking to do is push your low back into the floor. So right now, as I'm doing that, I can feel my abdominals engage 100%. If you don't feel that, don't go any further in the exercise. Either wait to talk to me after or just work on bringing your low back to the mat here. If you do feel your low back grounded, in slow motion, bring your big toes to the floor. If your low back has come off the mat, then take the heels back down, reestablish low back connection with the mat. So if I haven't emphasized that enough, squeeze the block with your inner thighs, and not just press inner thighs towards each other, but imagine that you want to slide the block forward towards the wall in front of you. It's kind of like you're spinning the inner thighs inwards and forward. Squeeze the block, working the inner thigh muscles, which helps to activate your deep core, pelvic floor, and your low back is grounded 100%. Do not let that waver. Push your low back into the floor. You can really feel the abdominals fired up here. Hover the big toes above the mat. The lower, the better. If your low back has come off the floor, big toes down, press the low back down. If still you can't make that connection, heels down. So you take it one step at a time. Big toes hovering, and now press your inner thighs into the block. Squeeze the block. Send the block forward. Low back grounded. So every once in a while, you might feel it floating up off the mat. You've got to check again and again. Now press your navel towards your spine. Visualize a rounded back. Squeeze the block. Hold for 3. Big toes down. Heels down. A little break. You should not feel that in your low back. If you are, the exercise is not being done correctly, please talk to me after class so that I can show you the right way to engage the abdominals. The low back presses into the floor. Push it firmly down in slow motion. Rise up big toes. Press the low back down. Again and again, squeeze the block. Slide the block forward. Press the low back down. Hover the big toes. A little hover, not more. Squeeze the block. Hold for 3. And feet down. This is where I so desperately wish that I could see your beautiful groaning faces in person. Okay, last round like that. Low back grounded. Squeeze the block. Slide up onto the big toes. Press your low back down. Otherwise, you're staying with the first option, in which, in that option, you're still really activating your core muscles. Absolutely. Don't think that it's cheating. You're just wherever you need to be in order to engage those deep core rectus abdominis muscles. Hover the big toes. Squeeze the block like crazy. Slide the block forward. Push your low back into the mat. Hold for 3. Notice how that's 3 breaths and not a count of 3. Lower down, place the block to the side, and take the soles of the feet together. Soften and relax the inner thighs. Soften the front ribs down, pull the breath downwards into the belly. So a nice big release for the abdominals before moving into round 2. Use your hands, guide the knees together. Forget about the block for now. Walk the feet in so you've got the big toes on the mat. Your low back is grounded. Stretch the arms alongside of the body. Push your low back into the floor. Start to peel the shoulder blades away from the mat. So you've got big toes down. Peel the shoulder blades away from the mat. Absolutely 100% low back is grounded, and the head can be in any comfortable position. If you find this is hard on your neck, then just slide one hand in behind your head. So try to draw the bottom points of the shoulder blades away from the floor. Hover the big toes above the mat. Squeeze your inner knees together. Low back has to be grounded. Shins come up parallel with the floor. There is no space between the low back and the mat. If so, drop the toes down and curl the spine like crazy. Hold for 3. Toes down, torso down, heels down, soles together. Drop the knees out to the sides, a little break. Hands guide the knees together. Lift up onto the toes. Bring your low back to the floor. Push your low back into the mat. Lift the feet up. Take the knees apart. Bring the hands forward between the legs. Reach for the feet. Reach, reach. Peel the shoulder blades away from the mat. Big toes touch knees wide apart. Shoulder blades lifting up. Navel to the spine. Spine pressing into the floor. Hold for 3. You could always support the head too if you wanted. Bring the knees together. A little break. One deep breath. Draw it all the way downwards into your guts. Arms alongside of the body, shins parallel to the floor. Press the knees together. Push your low back down. Take an inhale. Exhale and lift. Now take both hands to the outside of the right leg and take the backs of both shoulders off the mat. So reach, fingertips reaching, backs of both shoulders off the floor, low back grounded, hold for 3. Back to center, space between the feet, reach. You can always support the head. Knees together, reach to the left, squeeze. Get the left shoulder off the mat, reach, reach, low back grounded. Almost there, center, separate the knees. And release. Soles of the feet together. That's it for your abdominal work today. Now you've got the core nice and fired up. Guide the knees together, rock over onto your right side, push into your left hand to lift up, turn to face forward, slide any blanket to the side or under the knees if you like to use it for padding for the knees, and just begin to move through cat-cow. As you inhale, you're arching. Pause here for an extra breath and feel how you're stretching the abdominal muscles now. So you work them a lot when you're lying down, and now you're stretching and lengthening. Exhale, round, push your hands into the floor. Pause here also. Press your thumbs into the mat and the index fingers. Inhale, arching. Press the belly towards the earth, gaze forward. Exhale, navel to the spine, chin to the chest. Look between the knees. Inhale, press the index fingers and thumbs down. Exhale, chin to the chest. Look towards the belly. One more time, breathe in. And exhale. Neutral back, you can take your knees wide apart. Bring the big toes to touch. If this bothers your knees, then just be in a regular tabletop before moving down onto the forearms. Walk the left hand behind your right elbow. Send the hips back towards the heels. Breathe into the belly. Turn your left hand to face up. Slide it all the way out to the right. Press your left shoulder down. Send the hips back in the direction of the heels. Press into the right hand. Slide the left arm through. Come onto the forearms again. Right hand behind your left elbow. Send the left arm overhead. Send the hips back towards the heels. And rotate your palm to face up. Send the arm out to the left. Reach the right shoulder down. Reach the hips back. Press into your left hand. Slide the right arm through. Walk the knees together. Come to the back of the mat. Fold over the legs. Uttanasana, have your knees soft. Reach not just for elbows, but give yourself a hug. So cross your elbows. Creep the fingertips towards the shoulder blades. And if you actually reach the shoulder blades, then draw them away from the spine. So it's kind of like you're pulling your shoulder blades away from each other with the hands. Then press the elbows together. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Release the arms, uncross and recross, but with the other elbow on top. Creep the fingertips as far as you can towards the shoulder blades. Draw the shoulder blades away from the spine. Soften the chin to the chest. And lengthen through the back of the neck. Release the arms and interlace your hands behind you. Float the arms up off the back. Look between the knees. Shift your arms gently from side to side. See if you can take the arms a little bit deeper into that shoulder stretch, but mindfully. As you bring the arms back to center, keep them interlaced, but bend the knees and take your gaze forward, like you're in Uttanasana legs, but hands interlaced. Reach the knuckles of the hands towards the back wall. Reach the crown of the head forward. Soften the chin towards the chest and deepen the bend in your knees. Fold over the legs. Lift the arms up. Release the arms, rebend your knees, stretch the arms forward. Inhale. Notice if the knees are starting to buckle in towards each other, try to keep them moving back towards alignment with the ankles. And lift up your toes, drive down through the heels. Press the mounds of your big toes into the mat. So really shift mounds of the big toes ground down and then soften the toes themselves down. Root down through the heels, take an inhale and rise all the way up. Interlace your hands overhead except for the index. Hinge to your left. Soften the front ribs back, draw the hips forward. Inhale, center. Hinge over to your right. Inhale back through center. Lower the arms down and take the awkward interlacing of your hands behind you. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Reach the knuckles of the hands towards the floor. Lift your heart center. And come just halfway down. Knuckles of the hands reach back. Crown of the head reaches forward. Draw your front ribs back. Absorb them into your torso. Bend the knees. Squeeze the knees towards maintaining alignment over the ankles. So when I say that, they can still be in front of the ankles slightly, but not collapsed inwards. If that helps to clarify it all. Deepen the bend in the knees, draw the navel towards the spine, draw the shoulders away from the ears. And fold all the way forward over the legs. Left fingertips come to the floor or onto the left shin. Reach your right arm up. Lower the right hand down, bend your right knee, and reach your left arm up. Lower the left hand down, and finally walk forward to downward facing dog. Heels hide behind the toes. Press your fingerprints into the mat. Root down through the heel of the hand also, and attempt to slide the heel of the hand forward. Feel how this draws your torso back. Lift up onto your toes. Look forward, take as many steps as you need. Find your way to the top of the mat and fold over the legs. Bend your knees, arms reach overhead. Inhale, Uttanasana. Hands down through the heart center, find a deeper bend in the knees. Drop the tailbone towards the floor. Lift the heart center up towards the thumbs. Inhale, and as you exhale, turn to the right. Don't connect the elbow to the knee. Hover the elbow above the knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, turn left. Hover the elbow above the knee. Use those oblique abdominals. Inhale, center. Exhale, hover. Center. Last time, hover. Center. Reach your arms overhead. Inhale. Straighten the legs, reach up. With your right hand, take your left wrist, hinge right. Rest the head on the lower arm. Inhale, center. Change hands. Exhale. Back up through center and lower the arms down. From the top of the mat, separate your feet hip width distance apart. Arms reach overhead. Inhale, look to your thumbs. Draw the hands down through the chest. Bend your knees as you exhale and fold. Inhale, lift halfway up, straighten the legs. Fold again as you breathe out. Lift the sitting bones up towards the sky. Rise up, inhale. Hands to the chest, exhale. Arms overhead, inhale, look to your thumbs. Hands down through the heart center, exhale, and fold knees soft. Halfway lift, legs straight. Forward fold, pull against the legs. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to the chest. And we'll add on. Inhale, arms up, look to your thumbs. Exhale, fold knees soft. Halfway lift, breathe in. Forward fold, exhale. Rebend your knees, step the right leg back to a deep lunge, stay on the ball of the back foot. You may shimmy the foot back a little further if you can. Right hand could be on top of a block if that makes it easier to access. Stretch your left arm overhead, thumb to the sky. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other as though you still have that block between the upper inner thighs. Inhale, open up to the left for a twist. Circle the arm back. Fingertips graze the mat. Stretch the arm overhead, hold. Squeeze the block. Navel to the spine, twist left, circle back. Last time, fingertips graze the mat. Reach overhead, spinal twist, circle back. Hand to the mat, spin your right heel to the floor. So you probably want to shorten your stance a touch, not a huge amount, in order to get the heel down. Take the hands to the hips, so that the middle fingers will find that front hip bone. Root down through the feet, inhale, rise up. Use the middle fingers to lift the front hip bone up. Send the tailbone down towards the back heel. Use your right hand, draw the outer right hip forward. Then take your fingertips, same concept, lift the front hip bones up. So actually accessing the pelvis, your deep core. Front hip bones lift up, send the tailbone down towards the back heel. So here we're working left thigh muscles, obviously. Muscles of independence, as I learned last week, another term for them. Keep lifting front hip bones. You've got that core engaged. Stretch the arms up overhead. This time take the palms of the hands facing forward rather than to each other. Make light fists with the palms. And imagine that you're pulling down or doing a chin up, trying to lift your torso up towards the ceiling. So you're going to create some false resistance. And in slow motion, bend the elbows, pull the arms down. Do not flare the ribs forward. Pull the elbows forward, drop your wrists back. Keep lifting your front hip bones up. Hold and breathe. Squeeze the elbows forward. Drop the wrists back. Now pull the elbows into the rib cage. Open up the palms and rotate the hands forward. Make fists with the hands again, light fist, not super clenching. Tuck the elbows in tight to the rib cage. Move the forearms away from each other without letting the elbows move off the rib cage. So squeeze the forearms away from each other. Pull the elbows in. Take the arms as wide apart as you can. Hold and breathe. Straighten your front leg. Release the arms. Interlace the hands behind your back, or you could just hold on to the one hand. Right hand might take the left wrist and fold. Alternatively, especially if you feel that your balance is a little challenged, you could take the hands onto the front leg. Release the crown of the head towards the top of the foot. Rebend into the knee to come on up. Take the hands to the heart center. This is your balance challenge. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot. Gracefully step your right foot in just a few inches, gracefully. So step. To do that gracefully, you're really activating the muscles of the left leg. Shift the weight into the left foot completely. Rise up onto the right big toe. Big toe is still down. Torso is low. Left knee is bent. Hover the big toe off the mat. Step your right foot forward and fold. Easy peasy. Shift forward and back on the feet. Inhale, come on up, Tadasana. Exhale, hands, heart center. Inhale, reach the arms overhead, look to your thumbs. Exhale and fold over the legs, knees soft. Halfway lift, breathe in, legs straight. A deeper forward fold, breathe out. Bend the knees, take a big step back with the left leg. Shimmy the toes back if you can without sacrificing stability. Left hand is on the floor or on a block. Inhale and reach your right arm overhead. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Next, inhale, turn to your right. Circle the arm back. And fingertips graze the floor. Stretch the arm up, hold. Draw the navel to the spine. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Circle to the right. And back. Fingertips graze the mat. Last time, overhead. Twist. Back. And lower the arm down. Spin your left heel to the mat, probably shortening your stance. Align the torso over the center of the front thigh or approximately there. Bring the hands onto the hips, middle finger, front hip bones. Drive down through the feet. Take an inhale, lift the torso upright. So we just hang out here for a few breaths, kind of moving into some of the details of the pose. Your middle fingers lift the hip bones, lift, lift. The thumbs send the tailbone down towards that back heel. You're bending into the knee, which is moving towards alignment, if not already aligned, over the ankle. Breathe. Take your fingertips themselves, lift the front hip bones. See if you can feel that actually changing the position of your pelvis and tuning into or turning on your deep core abdominals. Send the tailbone down, lift the front hip bones up, and reach the arms up with the palms facing forward. Light fist with the hands. Create false resistance, which, by the way, studies have shown can definitely build muscle in the same or a similar way as if you actually were holding dumbbells. So fist with the hands, create that resistance in slow motion, pull, like you're pulling down something really heavy. Pause about halfway, lift your front hip bones. You can imagine that the fingertips are there doing that, but instead now you're accessing it on your own. Forearms drop back, squeeze your elbows forward, lift the front hip bones, soften the front ribs, hold. Face of a Zen monk, long, smooth, deep, and even breathing. Pull the elbows down into the rib cage. Palms face up, squeeze the forearms in towards each other. Elbows must connect with the ribs and stay connected. Make fists with the hands again and pull the forearms away from each other. As far as you can, notice how probably your front ribs will press forward and you'll arch the back when you do that. Avoid that entirely. So keep front ribs back, hips forward, forearms moving apart. And finally, release the arms and straighten out the leg. Take the arms behind your back, maybe opposite hand to wrist, fold forward. You could also interlace the hands or take the hands onto the front leg. Most important is stability. Bend into your front knee, take your hands together, heart center. This is your balance challenge. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot. Shift the weight into your right foot. Gracefully step your left foot an inch or two forward. Shift the weight into the right foot, right knee deeply bent, torso low. Lift up onto the ball of the left foot, big toe. Float the left leg up and step forward. Fold forward. A little rock forward and back. Press into your feet, take an inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart center. So making our way onto the stomach, inhale, reach the arms up overhead, look to your thumbs. Exhale, soft knees, hands down through the heart, fold. Lift halfway up, legs straight. Forward fold again. Step your way back to downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Drop your knees. Tuck the elbows in towards the ribs. Slowly lower down, all the way down onto the belly. Point your toes back. Stretch the arms alongside of the body and rotate your palms to face down. Not up, down. Press the tops of the feet into the floor and widen across the tops of the feet so that you can feel even the top of the baby toe side pressing down. Imagine squeezing a block between the inner thighs. Inhale, lift your chest away from the floor. You're not going to go very high. Try not to Feel as though you're moving higher up by lifting your gaze up. Keep the gaze softly down, chin drawing towards the chest. Legs stay down, lift your arms up. Lift the arms up a little bit higher, palms face down. Try to drop the baby finger sides of the hands down towards the floor. So we're strengthening the posterior rear deltoid portion of the muscle, stretching out that anterior front portion of the deltoid, the shoulders that get really tight from all of that forward bending and slouching that we do in the course of a day. Lift the arms up higher, keep softening the chin down, kneecaps off the mat, quads engaged. Hold for 3. And release all the way down. Arms come alongside of the body. Take your left ear to the floor. So with your arms alongside of the body, have the palms of the hands facing up and let the shoulders relax. Right ear to the mat. And back to center. Hands come under the shoulders, turn your toes under, press to all 4. Walk the hands out over to the right, or you're just sliding back regular child's pose. You can take the left hand on top of the right one. And shift forward, walk your hands all the way through center and to the left. You could take the right hand on top of the left one. Back to center, walk your hands in towards you, swing your legs over to the right. Make your way to the top of the mat. Arms are alongside of the body, and in that same way, you do not want a flat, long spine. You want a C shape with the spine. To help facilitate that, take your left hand to your upper chest, take the right hand to the belly, press them both back. Feel yourself rounding out, so you're not lifting upwards into the hands, but the hands are pressing the chest and navel back. Return the arms alongside of the body, maintain that C shape, and slowly lower down. Keep the C shape all the way down. Bring the legs into your chest and rock the arms around the legs. Rock from side to side. Massage the whole back of the body. Bring the hands onto the knees and make small circles to the right. And small circles to the left. And then come to neutral and lower your feet to the floor. If you have that same something to slide under your head, get that now. Legs are straight. Arms alongside of the body with the palms of the hands facing up. If you're working on keeping that openness through the front of the chest and avoiding that roundedness, that kyphosis in the upper back, then you might opt to have cactus shape with the arms. But this has to be comfortable because this is Shavasana. So if you want cactus shape, but it's not quite comfortable, talk to me after class. I'll give you some options for things that you can do. Somewhere between those two is just really creating a wide space between the torso and the arms when you outstretch the arms. Not to be distracted, however, by the sensation of a stretch. So now is the time to transcend physical sensation and drop your awareness right downwards into your breathing. So take your deepest inhale. Deeper than you might think is your deepest inhale, so that extra sip of air at the very top. And your fullest exhale. And same thing with the exhale. Probably an even more complete exhale than you think is possible. Really expelling any stale oxygen. One last second or moment to do any final fidgeting. And then with the eyes closed, total surrender. Allow the body to feel heavy. Allow the earth to rise up to support the body. Soften and relax the abdominals. Widen across the front of the chest. Allow the backs of the shoulders to release. Feel the weight of your head. Soften the cranial bones. Allow the eyes to sink deep into their sockets. Allow the tongue to rest in behind the lower teeth. Mentally repeat with conviction, with intention. I am at peace. I am content. I am exactly where I need to be. Bring your awareness to your breath and start to breathe more deeply. Awaken the body, wiggle the fingers and toes. Rotate the wrists and ankles. Inhale through the nose, extend the arms overhead. Lengthen the spine, point the toes. And through the mouth, exhale. Bring the knees to the chest. Rock and roll forward and back and side to side. Find your way back to a seated cross-legged position with the eyes closed and the hands together at the heart center. We'll seal the practice with the sound of Om. Take a conscious breath in. Namaste.